Welcome, beautiful, to the Creating Change podcast with Emma Bradford. Creating change to fall back in love with ourselves and life. Each episode, I'll be offering insightful stories, concepts, and practical takeaways to inspire your day, reconnecting to the authentic essence within. Are you ready, lovely, to embrace yourself even more and awaken to the magic life has to offer? Let's dive into today's episode. Hello and welcome to another episode of Creating Change with Emma Bradford. Thank you so much for tuning in into this special episode where I go into behind the scenes of creating a podcast. If you've wanted to create a podcast, then this is certainly a great episode for you to learn about behind the scenes and some practical tips and tools on what you can do. And also, if you simply just enjoy podcasts and you're curious to know what goes on in creating these episodes, here I'm sharing my experience. Now, I am aware that many people might do this differently. Everyone has their own process. This is simply just from my experience. This is not how everyone should do podcasts. This is just how I've learned to do them. And I'll be sharing a little bit about what I've learned along the way. It's been a massive learning journey, something that I've loved, and also there have been many things that have surprised me along the way and things that I never realized before and now I pay attention to. So I'll be sharing all of that in this episode. So I create and schedule these podcast episodes in advance, and this is something that I found that works well for me. So I have everything sorted in advance. So if for any reason I'm unable to record at one particular point, I already have episodes scheduled in advance, and I do them in batches of 4. So 4 mini episodes that fit in within 60 minutes total. And I record all 4 back to back. And then what I do is I upload each audio of those 4 recordings to my laptop, and then I go back and listen through it. And I make a note of all the timestamps, all the little gaps and sounds and motorbikes from neighbours and dogs barking and all the things that might pop up during the recording, which I try to eliminate during the recording, though obviously living around other people, that can happen. So I make a note of all those timestamps and I send that to my awesome audio editor. So I've had some help, someone who was recommended to me, and he's amazing. He's such a help. Any questions I have about audios, about microphones, about podcasting, he's there to answer. And he's very quick and efficient and really helps me to create these audios that are easy to listen to. So this is the thing, as I mentioned about the sounds, this is one of the biggest things that I've now started paying attention to. I never realized how many sounds my neighbors make. And then as soon as you start recording, you hear every move of furniture, every door banging, every dog barking, every motorbike. And it can get quite frustrating sometimes. I'm dreaming one day that I will have a soundproof room that I can use for recording podcast episodes, or a space, or perhaps invest in a better microphone one day that doesn't pick up on all the background sounds. And I've learned about how we can use fabric, how we can use the environment to really create the best recording experience in terms of sound. So I surround myself with plenty of blankets and fabrics and cushions, and I record these episodes in an enclosed space with all of that so I can create the best sound. Though, as with anything, because I do live near a busy road and there are lots of noisy motorbikes, so sometimes I do have to stop, I do have to pause, and then that gets cut out later on. So I record these episodes in batches and send the audios to the audio editor with those timestamps, and then he sends them back to me, when he's mixed everything in. He puts in the music, he cuts out all the motorbikes, all the noisy dogs and sounds from the neighbours, and sends it back to me. And then what I do with those finished episodes is then I send them on to someone else. I have someone else that helps me with the show notes. Show notes is something that I was writing myself in the beginning, and with the amount of work that I had to do, and there's so many things on my to-do list, it was just one extra thing that I could delegate out to someone else. So I have a wonderful person who helps me with that, with the show notes, and she listens to the finished audio episodes and she writes out all the key takeaways and the key points and puts in all the links and makes sure that everything's there for the information. If people want that in the description, if there are any links that I mention, if there are any other podcast episodes or files or anything that gets mentioned in the episode, she pops that in there. And then these completed episodes with the show notes then get sent back to me and I upload them. I schedule them online and set the date, and they come out every 2 weeks. So I schedule months in advance, and I've learnt about finding the balance between that, because whilst a few weeks can come by very quickly, and it's nice to have at least a month or a month and a half of episodes scheduled, I have also scheduled a lot far in advance, and sometimes that can be too far in advance as well, because my work is constantly changing, growing and evolving. So sometimes I need to go back and change a few things. So it's important to find that balance. And for me, it's usually within like a month or two scheduling ahead works for me. Though before I upload everything, I listen through them again. I check through everything, check the show notes, check the audios, make sure that everything is okay, nothing's been missed. Sometimes there are a few things that can be missed, or perhaps I want something changed. And I just check everything, then upload it, and then it's there, ready. It will go out automatically on Wednesdays at 8 a.m. every 2 weeks. And that's not all. It continues. So obviously I've missed out the very beginning part of that. So before recording, I actually spend time going through the topics. What do I want to talk about? I have a title in mind. I write down a few bullet points and I have that piece of paper in front of me. And then I just talk. Nothing is scripted apart from the readings that I read out from the expansions messages. Everything else is simply just coming through in the moment. And I just have a couple of bullet points and I talk from the heart. I feel that is how I work best. And once everything is up on the podcast platform, I send the audios and also the show notes to my video YouTube guy. I have someone else that helps me with YouTube, and he's amazing as well. He's so efficient and so helpful and really helps me with everything related to videos and YouTube. And I give those to him and he uploads them on YouTube for those people who prefer listening to the episodes on YouTube. So all of this, and not including my own time and effort and energy that I put into this, all of this cost me about 20 to 25 euros per episode. So these episodes are not actually free. I pay per episode to get these edited, to get these descriptions written, and I check through those and upload those, though it does cost me money to produce each episode. And it's something that I feel is really worthwhile to continue providing value and content. Though I think sometimes people don't even realize what goes on behind the scenes in terms of creating a podcast episode and how much time and energy and also money that gets invested into creating this free content. So this is why every single share, review, like, comment, everything is so beneficial, so helpful and so valued. It really makes such a difference So if any of these episodes help you in any way, if any of these episodes inspire you to send it to someone else and you think that someone else could benefit too, then thank you so much for doing that, because really it helps so much. And the episodes that are shared the most get the most views. This is how the online world works, and with all the algorithms. So it's all very well posting something up there, but if you don't share it on Facebook, on Instagram, and this is something that I do constantly mentioning about the podcast in my posts, if I don't do that, they don't get as many views. And it's not about a number, it's about getting this information out into the world so those who can benefit from it can benefit from it. Otherwise, it's just hidden somewhere. So all the shares, including what I do myself and what other people share as well, is so, so valuable and so important. And that's just one batch of episodes. It then repeats for the next batch, and then the next batch, and then the next batch. This is something that's ongoing and continuing. Some people work in seasons in terms of podcasts, that they do a season and then they pause, and then they do another season and then they pause. For me, starting out, I just had so many ideas, so many topics I wanted to talk about. I could literally create so many topics about everything. There's so much to talk about. I just feel like there are endless lists of topics, and I have many, many lists in my notebook. I just wanted to continue. So I just continued. And for this podcast, I have just continued for over a year, and there have been continuous episodes coming out. Once I had a friend ask me, like, how do you think of all the topics? Like, where do all the topic ideas come from? And my answer was like, it's easy. It just comes from life, through my own experiences, through what I see clients and students going through what I witness and people around me, through society. There are so many things that can be shared about the mind, the emotions, and life, falling back in love with ourselves and life. So some of the biggest lessons I've learnt are about the noise, as I've mentioned, like finding ways to reduce background sounds and really creating a wonderful, cozy, safe environment to share these topics, not only for the sound, but then also so I can share from the best place. Setting that intention and really paying attention to my emotional state before I go into recording. This is something that I've noticed, like listening back to older episodes, that I can notice some episodes, perhaps I wasn't in the best emotional state compared to others. And it's so important to go into it with this type of energy that I want to share into the world. And also, I've realized the importance of eating beforehand. You don't want your stomach rumbling in the recording, and that doesn't help, because then my audio guy needs to cut it all out. So it's important just to go into it in the best possible emotional state, and also like making sure that I'm not hungry, I'm not thirsty. I usually drink plenty of water beforehand, so my throat's not dry, and really creating a wonderful foundation for recording these episodes. So here's a little bit about behind the scenes, about how I create these episodes. And if you're looking to do the same thing, there are many different ways that can help. I actually hired a podcast coach in the very beginning just to help me with the setup, because I had so many things on. I didn't want to spend all the time trying to figure out how to set everything up on iTunes and all the different platforms that you need to set things up on. And she really helped me. So I will link her details in this episode as well. And also I used Fiverr. So Fiverr is a wonderful platform if you're looking for extra help. People advertise their services on there and they set the price that they wish to charge. So you pay them what they ask. And there are some really, really helpful people on there. So my audio editor's on there, and the show notes person who helps me is on there, and also my video guy is on there as well. So it's been a huge help, and it's really made life so much easier. I can do everything myself. I know how to edit audios. I've done that before. I have the platforms on my computer. Though with so many other things that I need to do, it's so much easier and a lot more efficient if I hire that out and get someone else to help me, and someone who knows a lot more than I do about audios. So that's a great help. So if you want to create a podcast, I say go for it. You can really learn so much along the journey, and there's nothing to lose, really. If you don't want to continue, you just stop. That's it. And if you enjoy it, you continue. It's a wonderful learning journey, and you get to really listen back to yourself, learn how you talk. Right in the beginning, I started noticing how often I use the word so. I had no idea until I created a podcast and thought, oh my goodness, there's a lot of words and phrases and things that we say and how we say things that we don't really realize until we listen to ourselves back. Not only can you learn about yourself, you can learn about the whole process, you can learn about how to really create content in a very creative, fun, and authentic way. I find sometimes on Instagram and other social media platforms, when everything is so short and restricted, like sometimes it feels like that to me. Maybe for other people, they don't feel that. Though for me, I don't really resonate with those platforms as much. And for my expression and for really talking about topics with a little bit more depth, even though these are bite-sized episodes, I find podcasting wonderful, wonderful. It's so much fun to do, and I'm really grateful for this experience, and so, so, so grateful for every single person that listens to these episodes. You are amazing. Thank you so much. And if you have any topic suggestions, if there's anything you want me to talk about in these episodes, then please do get in contact. info@emmabradford.net or on social media. I love to connect with you. Send me messages. I love hearing your shares and your messages. And any topic requests are very much welcomed. So thank you so much. Wishing you so much love on your continued journey on this planet, and I will connect with you in the next episode. Much love. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, beautiful. You're amazing. All resources and links can be found on my website, www.emmabradford.net. Link is in the show description. Do come and join my community and share your takeaways from this episode. I'd really love to hear. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Until next time, I wonder, what magic will you experience in life today?